research focuses on the access, adoption, and pricing of healthcare inputs, such as medical devices. I'm passionate about healthcare because I think it's an industry where the outcomes affect both our quality of life and length of life. And it's also an industry where the markets are complicated and we don't understand some of them that well.
My work is legal and anthropological. I am concerned with real-world decision-making of businesses and business leaders, basically what the intersections between culture and corporate law mean for the way that businesses operate, the effect they have on law and the effect that law has on them.
There's often a big disconnect between what people look for in their work and what they actually experience. And so this is a big challenge of leadership. And so I kind of study why it's such a challenge to create that sense of purpose, and also how we can fix it and how we can address it so that leaders can better impart that sense of meaning.
In particular, I'm interested in the processes by which strategic leaders, they interpret business situations. They process that information, and then with the sense that they've made out of the world around them, go ahead and make major decisions.
I focus mostly on what makes financial institutions fragile and how regulation would affect that fragility and what are the potential side effects from regulation. I focus mostly on money market funds, and I try to understand how the regulations or the changes to the regulation that are being proposed now by the SEC would affect the supply of liquidity by the money market fund industry.
If you're going to go to a foreign country, you need to learn about opportunities in that market and how to do business there. The other reason is that if you're going to go abroad, it's typically because you've developed some kind of knowledge, whether that's a knowledge on how to make a product or a business process, and you need to transfer that to a foreign market, or you might go to that foreign market to get knowledge that's going to help you be more competitive.
My research lies at the intersection of motivation and ethics in organizations. I'm primarily interested in how being seen as an underdog can be motivating. We have this long line of research that suggests that it's only motivating when others have high expectations for you, but yet we hear stories about how entrepreneurs, teams, organizations all find motivation in being seen as an underdog.
So I study something called collaborative environmental governance, which is a field within environmental law and policy that focuses on collaboration between the public sector and the private sector. Collaborative governance asks what lessons private firms can learn from government experience, what lessons the government can learn from private firms' experience, and how the two can kind of work together to improve the quality of the environment.
In my research, I'm looking at how investors use information and how they use that information in making decisions. And what I'm most interested in is how characteristics of that information influence how the information is used in the decision-making process.
In my recent research, I've looked at the interaction between electricity price regulation and sulfur dioxide emissions regulation of large coal power plants in the US. And it turns out that the way the regulated electricity prices are being set actually create bad incentives, which eventually lead to more coal being burned.
94% of all business entities are privately held, and 54% of all business net income is generated by privately held firms. And so what I'm really trying to do is understand what are the obstacles that they face in obtaining financing, and how does this affect their decision making and their investment decisions.